After 70, most people believe the more health checkups you do, the safer you are. But what if I told you that some of these so-called routine tests may actually increase your risk of surgery, strokes, or even cancer? In fact, studies reveal that over 30% of tests given to seniors lead to unnecessary treatments or side effects that never needed to happen. And here's the shocking part. One of these common checkups causes as many cancers in the US as drinking alcohol every single day. In this video, we'll uncover 5 checkups you should avoid after 70 that may harm you more than help. All backed by science, explained with real stories, and you won't believe what made it to number 2. But before we dive in, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment with your age and tell us, have you ever regretted a test or procedure? We'll be replying with personalized tips. And as always, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss life-saving health insights like these. Oh, and as we go through this list, I'll also share some safer, doctor-approved alternatives and simple lifestyle tools you can use at home. I've linked my top picks in the description below. They're things I personally recommend to patients looking for real prevention without the risks. Test number 1. Bone density scan. On the surface, a bone density scan, also known as a DEXA scan, sounds harmless. No needles, no pain, just a quick look at your bones to check for osteoporosis. Most seniors walk out of the clinic thinking, better safe than sorry. But here's the truth most people don't hear. After 70, this test can sometimes do more harm than good. Why? Because bone loss is a natural part of aging, just like gray hair or wrinkles. By the time you reach your 70s, almost everyone will show reduced bone density on a scan. The problem is, many doctors treat those numbers as a red flag, even when there's no real danger. This often leads to prescriptions for powerful medications called bisphosphonates. These drugs promise stronger bones, but the side effects can be brutal. Jawbone damage, painful reflux, brittle bones that actually break in unusual ways. Let me tell you about Rose, a 76-year-old retired piano teacher. She lived an active life, walked daily, and had never broken a bone. During her yearly checkup, her doctor sent her for a bone density scan. The results showed osteopenia, which is just mild bone loss. Her doctor prescribed a bisphosphonate right away. Within 3 months, Rose developed severe jaw pain and stomach irritation. She stopped playing piano because even talking hurt. When she finally sought a second opinion, she was advised to stop the medication. Instead, she began a simple lifestyle routine: resistance band exercises, vitamin D supplements, and a calcium-rich diet with sardines, leafy greens, and yogurt. 1 year later, Rose had stronger legs, better balance, and no fractures. That's the real lesson. Numbers on a scan don't always predict broken bones. What truly reduces fracture risk is lifestyle, strength training, balance work, and proper nutrition. In fact, a 2022 study in Osteoporosis International found that seniors who focused on exercise and diet reduced fractures by over 20%, far more than medication in mild cases. If you're over 70 and worried about bone health, ask yourself, do you really need a scan? Or would you benefit more from prevention you can control every day? Simple tools like resistance bands or balance trainers can protect your bones naturally. I've linked some safe, doctor-approved options in the description below. These are the same kind of tools I recommend for seniors who want stronger bones without risky medications. Sometimes the best way to stay healthy isn't another scan. It's living stronger, one step at a time. Test number 2. Brain MRI for mild memory loss. Forgetting a name, misplacing your keys, walking into a room and asking yourself, why did I come here? These are the little memory slips that almost every senior experiences. And naturally, the first fear that comes to mind is dementia or Alzheimer's. Doctors, wanting to be thorough, often respond by ordering a brain MRI. At first, it feels like a smart step. You'll finally know what's happening inside your head. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most MRIs in people over 70 don't give useful answers. What they do give is fear. That's because brain MRIs almost always show something in older adults. Tiny white spots, slight shrinkage, or other changes that are actually normal with age. But once those images are on paper, they can create unnecessary panic. Doctors may order more invasive tests, like spinal taps or even biopsies. Some seniors even end up on medications or procedures that never improve memory. Take George, a 74-year-old retired engineer. He was sharp, but noticed he misplaced his tools more often and sometimes forgot names. His doctor sent him for an MRI. The scan showed white matter changes, which sound scary, but are extremely common after 70. George became convinced he had dementia. He stopped driving, avoided social gatherings, and grew more anxious each week. But when we reassessed him with a simple cognitive screening test, a short paper-based exam, his score was completely normal. Once we reassured him and helped him focus on sleep, hydration, and daily brain exercises, his memory stabilized. Within months, he felt like himself again. Studies back this up. In a 2021 review published in Neurology Today, researchers looked at over 3,000 MRIs in older adults with mild memory complaints. An incredible 86% showed some kind of abnormality, but only 3% were linked to an actual treatable condition. That means the vast majority of seniors went through stress and extra testing for nothing. So what's the safer first step? Instead of jumping straight into an MRI, try a cognitive screening test with your doctor. These simple tests are low cost, effective, and don't carry the emotional burden of scary scan results. At home, you can support your brain naturally through memory games, puzzles, and lifestyle habits like better sleep and exercise. The bottom line? A small memory slip doesn't mean dementia, and an MRI won't give you peace of mind. It may take it away. Trust your brain, test wisely, and strengthen it with habits that truly matter. Test number 3, cardiac stress test. If you're over 70 and ever told your doctor you've been feeling a bit more tired, a little short of breath, or just not yourself, chances are you've been recommended a cardiac stress test. On paper, it sounds logical. Hook you up to a monitor, put you on a treadmill, and see how your heart responds. The idea is to catch blocked arteries before they cause real trouble. But here's the danger. For many older adults, this test can do more harm than good. The problem lies in its accuracy. As we age, our heart and blood vessels naturally change. In people over 70, stress tests are notorious for producing false alarms, sometimes showing problems that aren't really there. In fact, studies show the false positive rate can be as high as 40%. That means nearly half of seniors flagged by the test may not have any dangerous heart condition at all. But once a test suggests trouble, the domino effect begins. You're sent for more invasive exams like angiograms, and before you know it, doctors are talking about stents or bypass surgery. Even if those procedures don't actually extend life or improve quality for symptom-free patients, take Raymond, a 75-year-old retired postman. He stayed active, walking several miles each week. One day, he mentioned to his doctor that hills felt more tiring lately. Just to be safe, the doctor ordered a stress test. The results came back abnormal, so Raymond was sent for a catheterization procedure. They found a mild narrowing in his artery and decided to place a stent. But here's the twist. That stent didn't change his fatigue at all. What it did cause was a serious reaction to the contrast dye, leading to kidney problems and a week-long hospital stay. All because of a test that was never really needed. A 2017 study in JAMA Cardiology found that more than half of all stents placed after stress tests were done in patients who saw no real benefit. What they did see were higher risks of bleeding, infections, and long recoveries. So what's the safer path? If you don't have classic heart symptoms like chest pain during activity, severe shortness of breath, or dizziness, skip the treadmill test. Instead, talk to your doctor about alternatives like a resting EKG or a coronary calcium scan. And at home, monitor your heart with safe tools. A reliable blood pressure monitor or smartwatch can help you track heart health daily without stepping into a hospital. I've linked some trusted, senior-friendly options in the description. Simple tools that put control back in your hands. Because sometimes, the best way to protect your heart isn't with risky tests. It's with smart prevention. Test number 4. Colonoscopy after 70. For decades, colonoscopy has been called the gold standard for detecting colon cancer. And it's true, between ages 45 and 65, this test can be a lifesaver. But after 70, the risk-benefit balance starts shifting dramatically, and for many seniors, the procedure may bring more harm than protection. Why? Because colon cancer takes years to develop. If you've already had clear screenings in your 50s and 60s, your risk of suddenly developing a fast-growing cancer at 72 or 75 is much lower. On the other hand, the risks of the test itself, sedation complications, bowel perforation, bleeding, and infection, increase significantly with age. In fact, research published in the Annals of Internal Medicine found that adults over 70 face nearly double the complication rate compared to younger patients. Take the story of Mrs. Patel, a 74-year-old grandmother who had always been diligent about her health. She went in for a routine colonoscopy, even though her last two had been perfectly clear. The procedure itself seemed fine, until hours later, she developed severe abdominal pain. It turned out the colonoscope had caused a small tear in her intestine. What should have been a routine preventive test quickly became a medical emergency that required surgery and weeks of recovery. This doesn't mean colon health should be ignored after 70. It just means colonoscopy may no longer be the safest option. The U.S. Preventive Services Task Force itself notes that for people over 75, routine colonoscopy often provides little additional benefit, especially if previous screenings were normal. So what's the safer path forward? Non-invasive stool-based tests, like the FIT test or stool DNA kits, can detect early signs of colon cancer without the risks of sedation or scopes. They're easy to do at home, don't require fasting or hospital visits, and can still provide reliable peace of mind. For seniors who value independence and safety, these alternatives are often a smarter choice. That's why many older adults are now turning to home colon health kits. Simple, non-invasive, and accurate. I've included a link in the description to trusted at-home screening options that seniors can use comfortably and safely. These kits don't replace medical advice, but they do give you a way to stay proactive without putting your body through unnecessary stress. After 70, prevention should feel empowering, not exhausting or risky. By choosing gentler screening methods, you're protecting your health and your quality of life. Test number 5, prostate cancer screening, PSA test. If you're a man over 70, chances are you've been offered a PSA blood test at some point. Doctors order it to measure prostate-specific antigen, a protein linked to prostate cancer. On the surface, it seems simple and harmless, just a quick blood draw. But here's the catch. For older men, PSA screening often creates more problems than it solves. The biggest issue is overdiagnosis. The PSA test can't tell the difference between aggressive cancer and slow-growing prostate changes that will never cause harm in your lifetime. After 70, many men naturally have higher PSA levels because of aging or conditions like enlarged prostate. This leads to false alarms, and once that number comes back high, the spiral begins. Biopsies, scans, and sometimes even surgery or radiation. Take Mr. Deshmukh, a 73-year-old retired teacher. His PSA test showed slightly elevated levels. Worried, his doctor ordered a biopsy. The biopsy revealed a small, slow-growing tumor, something that likely never would have affected his health. But anxious about the word cancer, Mr. Deshmukh chose surgery. The outcome? He survived, yes, but he was left with lifelong side effects. Urinary incontinence and erectile dysfunction that deeply affected his quality of life. All from treating something that may never have caused him trouble. This isn't just one story, it's a widespread issue. A large review in the BMJ found that PSA screening in older men often doesn't improve survival rates, but it does dramatically increase the chances of unnecessary treatment and complications. That's why the American Urological Association recommends against routine PSA testing for men over 70, unless there are very strong reasons. So, what should you do instead? The smarter approach is what doctors call watchful waiting or active surveillance. That means keeping an eye on symptoms like trouble urinating, frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom, or pelvic pain, rather than jumping straight into blood tests and biopsies. Lifestyle adjustments also go a long way. Staying active, eating a diet rich in vegetables, and keeping weight under control all support prostate health naturally. And here's something practical you can do at home. Many men over 70 benefit from simple prostate support supplements made with ingredients like saw palmetto, zinc, and pumpkin seed extract. These can help manage urinary symptoms gently without aggressive testing or treatment. I've linked some senior-friendly options in the description if you'd like to explore safe, natural support. At this stage of life, the goal isn't just living longer, it's living better. And sometimes, the wisest choice is to say no to unnecessary tests and yes to quality of life. So there you have it. 5 common health checkups after 70 that may actually cause more harm than good. We looked at bone density scans, routine mammograms, cardiac stress tests, colonoscopies, and PSA screenings. Each of them has a place earlier in life, but after a certain age, the risks can outweigh the benefits. The truth is, medicine isn't one size fits all. What protects you at 50 may put you at risk at 75. But here's the key takeaway. Saying no to unnecessary tests doesn't mean ignoring your health. It means being smarter about prevention. It means asking your doctor the right questions. Do I really need this test? How will it change my treatment? Are there safer alternatives? Often, there are gentler, more senior-friendly tools available that give you peace of mind without exposing you to hospital risks. That's why I've added links in the description to trusted home health tools and screening kits, from easy blood pressure monitors and colon health tests to safe supplements that support heart and prostate health. These are practical options you can use at home to stay on top of your health while avoiding the stress of unnecessary procedures.